Right, so welcome back to another deck profile video. In today's video we are presenting BlackWarGreymon from the recently new Sinister Order set. It's essentially built with the black base as opposed to the red, just because it's more fun, and it's quite funny when you get to steal your turn back. So we'll dive straight into it, and we'll start with our Digi-Eggs. So starting with the Digi-Eggs, then we're running 4 Coromon from EX10. It only has the one effect inherited. It's all turns, once per turn. When attack targets change, you draw 1 card. So you can ultimately do this on both your own turn and your opponent's turn, if you've got the right setup. But we're only running these 4. You could run different Coromons, however I think this is the best one for this variant. In terms of rookies, let's start with the best searcher for any Greymon deck, which is going to be Agumon from BT12. You reveal the top 4 cards of the deck. You add 1 Digimon card with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and 1 Tamer card with Tychimere in its name, and then you bottom deck the rest. Its inherited effects all turns, but whenever this Digimon would be Greymon or Omnimon in its name, it gets an additional 1000 DP. So you've essentially got a dual searcher, and being able to reveal the top 4 is actually quite decent. Next up, we've got 3 of Agumon from ST15. So it comes with a start of main phase effect. If your opponent has a Digimon, you gain 1 memory. And then its inherited effect is in all turns, once per turn. When an attack target is switched, you gain 1 memory. You can easily optimize this to 4 instead of the 3. However, I still think you see enough of it to just run it as a 3 of. Next up is a 2 of Agumon X Antibody from BT11. On playing when Digivolving, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You can either add a Greymon in name, or an X Antibody in name, and a Black Tamer. Bottom deck the rest. Inherited wise, it comes with an all turns. When this Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name would be deleted or returned to hands or deck, by an effect, you may place 1 X Antibody from its Digivolution cards to the bottom of the deck, and then preventing that from leaving it. Next up, we're running 3 of Agumon X Antibody from the new BT22 set. It's on play when Digivolving effect is you may return 1 Digimon card with Tyrannomon in its name, or the dinosaur trait from your trash back to your hand. Its inherited effect is an all turns, once per turn effect, but when this Digimon deletes your opponent's Digimon in battle, gain 1 memory. You'll see the trend of this going forward, but the inherited effects are what make the loop quite funny. Next up, Champions. We've got Greymon from EX10, which comes with Raid. On play and when Digivolving, 1 Digimon gets plus 3000 DP until your opponent's turn ends, and its inherited effect is all turns, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. The Raid comes in handy, especially if you've got the Agumon set up underneath, because you're essentially going to gain 2 memory using Raid, but it's also a good card to get rid of early game problems. Next up, we're running 4 of Greymon from ST15. Security effect is that you may play an Agumon or Tamer card with Tychimere in its name from your hand or trash without paying the cost. It also comes with blocker, so again works with the Agumon inheriteds, and its inherited effect is much like the Agumon version. When an attack target is switched, you gain 1 memory. You're going to be seeing a lot of this memory gaining shortly, but it's a good loop nonetheless. The last of our champions then are the 2 variants of Greymon X Antibody, both from BT9 and BT11. BT9's version doesn't come with any effects other than its inherited, which essentially, when it would be deleted or returned to hand or decks, you just trash 2 of the same level Digimon in its Digivolution sources to prevent that. The Greymon X Antibody from BT11, however, obviously restricted because it's a very strong card. But when it would Digivolve into a card with Greymon in its name, you reduce the cost by 1 for each of its colours. And very similarly to the Agumon X Antibody from BT11, it has the same inherited effect, where essentially when it would be deleted or returned to hand or decks, instead of trashing 2 of the same level cards, you just bottom deck your X Antibody Digivolution card. And then moving on to our ultimate level Digimon, is essentially the best Metal Greymon in the game, I personally believe. It comes with Reboot. It has on play and when Digivolving, give one of your opponent's Digimon collision, and start of your main phase this Digimon attacks until their turn ends. Its inherited effects an opponent's turn, once per turn. When attack targets change, if this Digimon has Greymon in its name, trash your opponent's top security card. As such, you'll always be activating that. Next up, I'm running 4 of Metal Greymon X Antibody from BT11. When Digivolving, until the end of your opponent's turn, it can't be DP reduced or de-Digivolved. And if you've got Metal Greymon or X Antibody in its sources, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. Similarly, it has an opponent's turn inherited effect, but when any Digimon becomes unsuspended, you trash the top card of your opponent's security, as long as you've got Greymon or Omnimon in name. Moving on to our level 6 Digimon then, I'm running 2 copies of Gaiamon from EX4. When Digivolving, you would delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 13 or more. If it doesn't delete, however, then you trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Then at the end of your turn, as long as you have a Tamer in play, you can Digivolve into another variant of Gaiamon without paying the cost, and it ignores Digivolution requirements. I'm also running 3 of the promo Gaiamon for obvious reasons. It comes with Reboot and Blocker. When Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, one of their Digimon gains start of main phase, this Digimon attacks, and then you may attack with Gaiamon. All turns once per turn, but when any attack targets change, you trash your opponent's top security card. So essentially you get to do a lot of crazy stuff with these. Next up, however, we've got the boss Digimon of the deck, which is BlackWarGreymon Ace from EX10. Comes with Raid, Blocker, and Reboot. It's on play, and when Digivolving, you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers with a play cost of 7 or less. And then its all turns effect is that when any of your opponent's Digimon surpass 13,000 DP or more, it becomes immune to Digimon effects and gains 3,000 DP itself. Which is just a crazy mix. Tamer wise, we're running 4 in total, 2 of them being Yuko from BT22. Start of main phase, if your opponent has a Digimon, you gain 1 memory. All turns, essentially when an attack target is switched, you may suspend this Tamer, and then one of your Greymon becomes immune to Digimon effects for the turn. It also has an all turns inherited effect, however, it remains irrelevant for this deck. The last 2 Tamers I'm running are Tai Kamiya from ST15, essentially the memory setter for the deck. All turns, however, when an attack target changes, or is switched in this case, by suspending this Tamer, you draw 1 card and one of your Digimon gets plus 2000 DP until the end of the turn. Which is quite handy because there are going to be some cases where you just don't have the DP, so being able to use the extra 2k does come in handy. Next up then, we've got our option cards. So I'm going to start with just 1 copy of Black Scramble from the limited set. Essentially you can use its main effect, which allows one of your black Digimon to Digivolve into another black Digimon card with the cost reduced by 3, and then you place this card in the battle area. The delay effect is ultimately a start of your turn, but if your opponent has a Digimon, you can return one of your black Digimon cards from your trash to the top of the deck, and then play out a similar colour trait Digimon with 2000 DP or less from your trash without paying the cost. I'm also running 3 copies of Garnet Memory Boost. In not so many words, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and you add 1 red or black Digimon card among them. Its delay effect in this case is gain 2 memory, like all memory boosts do, but these are very essential, especially if you want to try and set up your board early. Next up, just 2 copies of X Antibody from BT9. You can opt to use the proto form instead, however they're a lot more expensive, and X Antibody still does the same thing. Security wise, it gains 1 memory and then you add the card to your hand. Main, you just simply place this underneath one of your Digimon without X Antibody already in its sources, and it comes with various inherited effects. where essentially you can Digivolve into an X antibody trait Digimon. Next up we got Hades Force. I love this card, but you can play it for a cost of 5 as long as one of your Digimon has X antibody in its sources. But you get to choose any number of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers with a combined play cost to a specific Digimon that you choose on your side of play, and that has Greymon in name. So this goes very well with the level 6 Digimon in this case. Lastly, I'm only running one copy of Black Base Demon from BT12. The main effect is until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gains start of your main phase. This Digimon attacks. There is a very similar option card in the starter deck 15. I think it's called Trident's Arm, might be Trident Gaia, it might be one or the other. However, this is just much more reasonable for the play cost itself, but you can consider that as a secondary option. But that's it. So that's our 50 card deck profile. You're obviously going to see that the deck itself likes to trash a lot of security, and with the right setup you can essentially gain anywhere between 3 to 4 memory a turn, as long as you've got the right stack, which also helps with stealing the opponent's turn, or at least limiting them in doing what they can achieve. But yeah, this deck is personally my favourite of the set. I've not built any of the others because they don't really interest my playstyle, but you will be seeing some deck profile videos of those in due course as provided by my local scene. But yeah, as always, copy and paste the deck, amend it to however you play it, and as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.